All right, boys. So this is following the loss to Fox Valley Lutheran. Um, that's hard, but I don't mind losing if this is something that we're going to learn from. So this could be a really good week to get stuff fixed, specifically on offense. When we're running the buck, the first time we ran the buck, Derek went down inside, okay, and I think we picked up 7 yards on it. The whole rest of the night, the buck wouldn't go like it's supposed to go. Looking at it in part, Derek, if we fix that thing that we talked about, which is you don't lock on that end, right? So if your tight end is going down inside, and if you can get inside of that guy, you can go inside of him. But if not, you go outside of him. But we don't want to get you trying to kick out the end, because then both pullers and then on Super Buck, that Z run right into your back and everything just gets scummed up. So essentially, you did what they want to do, right? They want to squeeze that thing down, and they want their end to blow everything up, make it spill over the top. You did that for them. Okay. Number 2, rocket. So when we run the rocket, and we're going to talk about this, if the Z, Derek, let's say or JJ, I've got a cat coming in here. So JJ, if you're running that rocket and you're blocking for that rocket, and that guy starts cheating and he gets out to the point where there's no way that you can get to his outside shoulder, what we're going to do is we're going to treat it just like we treat a buck. And when we run a buck, we talk to our guys about running a kick out or a log. And the kick out is the kick out is if that guy comes upfield, we kick him out and then we run inside of him. Okay. So then if we're running the buck and we have a log, it's that guy squeezes down really good. And that's what FLV did. Their ends were well coached, right? They were really hip to hip with anyone that's kind of doing any veer or inside block inside of them. So they just squeeze that thing down. So when we're running the rocket, if we're running out and we can get to that outside shoulder, we're treating that as a log, and then we're going to run the grass and then turn that thing up. But when we're looking at the H and the Z blocking, if we're running and we can't get that outside shoulder because that guy's taking off, we're just going to kick him out. The rest of the guys are going to cut up inside of that. The back's going to cut up inside of that. And then we're going to break it back out to grass. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. So this is what I did with the D line is I took all the guys and I just went plus, 0, minus. Okay, this is their grade. And the way that it works out for O-line and D-line is if you're at a 0, a +1, a +2, or a +3, then that's 1 saber. If you're at a +4, +5, +6, that's 2 sabers. If you're at a +7, +8, +9, that's at 3 sabers. So what I did is I took and I canceled out all the pluses and all the zero or all the negatives, and the zeros were negligible, and then I just looked at how many pluses were left, and that was your score. So for D-line, Cole finished at a +2. So Cole, you have to see me for 1 saber from the game, and I'm not going to see you, or I'm not going to seek you out. That's you seeing me. Kristen, you were at a -9. You did some really good things, and you know this, you were also gassed, and there were times where you just stood up and didn't do anything. You just stood there in space. Okay, so hopefully we can take care of that to make sure that you're fresh through the game. Max, you're at a +7, which is 3 sabers. Odin, you're at a +4, which is 2 sabers. You have to see me. And then Pardo, you were at a -1. So you are almost to that point of getting a game saver. Henry didn't get enough reps in. I got you for 6 reps here, and then Sawyer just a few. So and some of the plays you couldn't see because the drone cut out. So Cole, see me for 1. Max, see me for 3. Odin, see me for 2. On the offensive side of the line, now if you want to see how Eric graded you, have to go to the Fox Valley Lutheran O-line review. and you might not see them right away. So you look under columns here. And let's say we've got this column, and I don't see Eric's grades on here. But if I go to the column called calls, so I click on columns, and I go to calls up here. And then what he did is on play 9, left tackle, left guard, center, right tackle, or right guard, right tackle. Play 10, this was the left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. In O-line, watch your review, because there's a lot of really cool fixing stuff that can go on with you guys up front. All right? So for the O-line, Eljo, you were at a +5. So see me for 2 sabers. Jaden, you were at a 0. So see me for 1. Odin was at a -1. Some bouncing. Odin, you're going to see that in hitting guys, not staying on blocks, and also some forward lean, giving up your head, giving up your hips. Ethan, a -2, and Henry, a -9. So Henry, what you're going to concentrate on and follow Eric's O-line review, because he has a lot of good stuff for you. But giving up your hips, giving up your head, a lot of lunging. You're continuing to throw guys inside, which is a big, big no-no. But stuff that you can all fix, stuff you can address. Okay, so I'm going to go through my list real quick. And this is stuff I noticed just from the game. This might have a little O-line. This might have a little D-line. This might have some general run game stuff. But it's all good stuff. JJ, we talked about this how many times in practice. So you're over here. You got to get through the wedge. And you continue to line up in the wedge. So you're coming here. You got to get through it, and you stop right there. I wouldn't worry about that guy. Nice contact, because the wedge will take care of him. Now just think about this. If you engage him in the wedge, now the wedge has to block him and you. So you got to clear that thing out, but good contact. I don't know, JJ. Maybe it'll help to move you here, right? Maybe put you here, and you got to block the second guy past, and then we flip. Who is that right there? I can't tell. But then you'd have to block the first guy pass, so something to think about on kick return. Okay. Right here, what do we have? I'm looking at JJ. Now, see what happened here, JJ? We've got the guard kick out. Or actually, he logs. Derek, this is the one that you did right. Okay, so they went down, 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 down. You can go down, or if you can't get through, you can go out, but you can't block and stay here. Okay, so what happens is Ethan comes through here. He logs this guy, or actually he ignores him because that guy is right on the hip. Look at the riding the hip. Cole Klein, this is what it looks like to ride a hip. Really just get on the hip and squeeze that thing down right there. But Ethan doesn't even have to do anything. So Ethan goes out to here. And then JJ, you'd want to cut that thing up right off of Ethan's kick. Said you kind of doubled it up. Still picked up 7 yards. Jaden, this was talked about before. If you cut on a zone, you're doing exactly what they want to do. They want to create a pile. So if you cut on a zone, that's just putting someone on the ground with no movement. We just did their job for them. You can see that there. Boom. Okay. Who is this right there? Eljo, nice log. Right there. Boom. And then Derek, I think that is, you got to tell me if this is going full speed or not. Oh, no, that's not you, Derek. That's Noah. Noah, carry everything at full speed and don't turn around and watch the play. Like you can watch it on the film after the game. But you want to keep selling stuff. Sell it with your eyes, sell it with your feet, sell it with your hands. This one, Derek, is this full speed? I can't tell. Pop step inside. So if you don't pop step inside here, Christian, you give up a gap. You give up that inside gap. And then we're trapping the first guy on pass guard. So they go down here and he goes down here and he comes across and nobody picks him up. So this is a whiff on Aljo's part. I'm looking at Derek first. You got to tell me if this is full speed or not. And then Aljo, you see your whiff there. Like you wrap up inside of him, but you didn't kick him out. That's the guy we're kicking out on down. Skip. Derek is jogging. To me, it looks like a jog, but I don't know. Ethan, is this a slide? So I'm going to look at Derek first. You got to tell me if this is full speed or not. Now, Ethan, on this one, we have a slide. So what you do is you slide to the right. No, which way do we slide here? You slide right, okay? And then Henry steps into that gap, slides in. And then you go back to it, you go back to Henry. And then a guy that when you slid back to Henry, then a guy comes in your inside A gap. Okay, so what I would say, Jaden, you do the right thing, slide. Just take a shorter slide there, Jaden. One step, boom. See how you crossed your feet, Jaden? Anytime you cross your feet, you lose all your power. Just step and slide. And Ethan, just trust that Henry's going to be there. That's how we pick up every gap. We have to trust the guy next to us. Who is this right here? Oh, never give up, contain. Defensive end here. Cole. Outside hand has to be free. We had a lot of that during the game. And so as a defensive line, defensive ends. So one of the big things that we're going to work on this week is just practicing hooking, getting hooked. We got hooked several times. We weren't protecting our outside. Okay. Remember, there's no one out there. No one else is out there but us. Lost leverage. So Christian, the first thing you do on here is you go up. Instead of throwing hands, instead of throwing hips, instead of going through, you go up, and then any kind of leverage were lost. Cole, remember before we showed you that Fox Valley kid, he got right on the hip and squeezed that thing down. Look at the amount of space between you and that hip. Take all of the light out of that. Take all the air out of that. CPR, we're losing contain on the outside. Because you go in. Actually, that's not bad. I take that back. Because look at remember we said there's pressure keys and read keys? So if you're looking at this thing, that guy, that outside half of the body is your pressure key, but his inside hip is your read key. So let's see what his outside hip is your read key. And what is your read key doing? That actually might be okay. As long as you can recover CPR. Nothing here. A lot of times we got hooked. We get hooked here. I don't know if that's technique. I don't know if that's fatigue. I don't know if that's just, I don't want to get hooked and I'm not going to let myself get hooked. Is that force of will? This is textbook over here. We talked about this. We saw the open stance right now. So you're hitting your nice low rip through. Right there. Boom. Clear that shoulder. Smash. That's tough. Again, we get hooked right here. A lot of getting hooked. Is that awareness? Is that force of will? Is that fatigue? We're going to figure that out. Good recovery over here. This is deep as the deepest. I'm watching Cole. Now, you notice you were getting deeper than him, so now you start fighting back under. That's what you're supposed to do. And then Christian over here. Good escape. Working an escape. Boom. And you kept contained. We got to get your breaks, dude. Watch what you do on this play. JJ, this time you actually wind up in the wedge. So our wedge right now has to block you. So that won't work. We got to fix this. We got to find some dudes at X that want to block or can block. I'm still watching X out here. Just doesn't seem to be a real big urgency to want to lock onto somebody. Okay, let's get talking about this. This is a good job, Odin. So you're fighting out here, and you're keeping the outside hand free, and you're fighting past that guy in your pull to pipe. That's real good. So on the snap of the ball, right, he's taking off. So Derek, you got to look at that thing and this is going to be our big fix for the week. It's like, okay, I can't get to him because he's already cheating, right? So what we're going to do is if we can't hook him or if we can't log him, I'm going to say if we can't log him, logging's getting to that outside shoulder. If we can't log him, let's kick him right there. Because if we can kick him, and JJ, you see this and you see Derek's kicking him, I know I can cut up inside of Derek, and then when I pass this dude, I can go back to grass. So let's kick it, or let's go inside of Derek now, right there. And then when you pass that guy, now get back out to grass. That's our big rocket fix this week, boys. Make sense? So I'm going to repeat that. So Derek, you're out there. You see that guy cheating. You know there's no way you can get to his outside shoulder to log him. So then you just kick him. JJ, you got to be watching. And the other guys that are pulling Max too, you got to be watching Derek. So if Derek can't log, if he's got to kick that guy, you guys just cut it right inside of Derek. And then as soon as you pass Derek, get back out to grass. Make sense? We figure this out, boys. That rocket stuff will just start taking off. JJ, never pass up another color. Derek, not your man. This is where we start getting in troubles. So we're going down, down. You can go down inside of him, or you can outside release and try to climb to him. The only thing you can't do is stay. You stay, that's where things get messy. Can you get inside of him? If you can get inside of him, climb up to here. That confuses Aljo. That confuses Ethan. JJ, you actually put your hands on guy right there. And then what do? You just run by him. Who makes the play? The guy who you had your hands on. Never pass up another color. No. For the reasons we talked about. I know it's a keep back the other way, but same rules apply. Odin, where are your hips? Where's your head? If you decide you just want to get in a punching match, a fighting match with him, this is what happens. Weight forward, giving him your shoulders, giving him your head, giving him your hips. Push and pull. He's gone. what do we got with Eljo right here? Oh, look at your hands inside Eljo. Look at your steps. Boom, boom, boom. Look at it. Your Eljo, you're using every surface of your foot. Hips are back. Your head's out of there. Odin, you should be sitting back. Hands in. Pinkies together. Thumbs out. Head out. You're giving head. Maxie, I think you got doubled every play from what I could tell in the game. And you're just an Iron Man out there. Like, I don't know how you did it. Like special teams, defense, offense. Practically dragging you to get off the field. Jaden, this is nice help here. And nice job getting movement. Look at this. We got 5 boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up front. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 7. So we're too short, 7 on 5, and you guys still are double teaming, 2 for 2, and you create a crease. Jaden really liked that. That's a good sign that we can take those guys 7 on 5 and still pick up positive yards. Picked up 4 yards on his own. If we run 5 or 7, we're going to have to add maybe a read off of here. So if we're running a zone right, we'll read this left end so we can climb here. You guys can go 2 for 2 and you can go lock on here. Then we don't have to worry about him. Noah can stare him down. If he squeezes, Noah can replace. So that is the zone read. So I'd go zone right, read. We'd read zone right would be read left. If we went a zone left, then we would read this guy to the right. If I'm running against this defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I would run a zone right, read left. Because they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then they have an extra guy over here. You didn't get hooked here. See that, Christian? You're fighting that outside hand free. You didn't finish, but you're in the right position. And then, remember we were looking at those Fox Valley kids and how they squeeze on the hip, like they get hip to hip, and you're coming up and letting all that space. Look at how much light there is in between there. That's not where we want you. We want you down inside of there. The depth is good. The width is too wide. Christian, you go up instead of throwing hands and hips. Then you lose your leverage. Fatigue may be a factor there. Inside leg up. Surf, that allows you to push up off the edge. So if you ever hear me say surf, Cole, what that means is you want to collide, you want to squeeze, and then get that inside leg up. If the inside leg up is you can push to the outside. If the outside leg is up, you can't push off of the inside leg because it's back. Just some. Okay. See you. Your outside leg is up, and then you cross it over, and then you can't push off of that. So inside leg up, not outside leg. Then you can recover. Oh, and I should mention this with sabers too. If other positions, we also have Noah for a saber. Actually, 2. Noah, 1 to keep and 1 to give away. Max, look at the play that you scored on. That's 2 sabers, 1 to keep, 1 to give away. And then Danny Carlin, you have a saber for extra point. And saber for, I'm not sure who picked up the fumble recovery, but come and see me and I'll get you a saber for fumble recovery. Now, if you want any other position coaches to award sabers, that's up to them. So if you want your coaches to grade your groups, you can ask them to do that too. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, I'm just watching like just effort of these two people here. Watch what you do on this extra point. You know who I feel bad for on a play like that? Watching these guys. I feel bad for people that are really selling out in the middle here. Like this person right there. That's who I feel bad for. This time didn't make it to the wedge. I understand it's far away, but that, to me, I'd probably close it in a little bit, maybe to here. Or, who are you with here? Is that Cole? Maybe you guys can flip. Maybe he can find his way to number 1 and you can get to number 2. Okay? It works. Get hooked here. Great job there. We'll have to review what's happening here. Oh, and the read key. So I'm watching Christian first. Look at that first step. Boom. He's got you. Can't give up a hook. Watching right here. Look at that. You're staying, you're playing your half man. You're not getting hooked. You crossed his face. You found your angle of pursuit. That's a really nice play. Now, what we're going to tell you here over here, Cole, is this your pressure key? This is your read key. If you see this guy go down and he's going to sucker you by inviting you to the outside, what you're going to do is if you see this read key go away, slip underneath and then recover. CPR. Okay? So let's see what that read key does. Pressure key, read key goes down. If that read key goes down like that, you don't have to stay here and run around. You can go here, slip into here, and then run CPR. You could slip that thing and then put CPR here. So slip into here, getting good CPR, and then squeeze this way. Okay? Pressure key, read key. Right idea. You guys made the play bounce to the outside. We just needed more help to the outside. Now you can squeeze a little bit tighter here, Cole, but that thing comes here, you're at heel depth, boom, they can't get inside of you, and they can't get inside of you because these guys are crossing face and then getting to the play. So you close down here, and then Max, and I think that's Odin, close down here, so this play couldn't make it here, it has to bounce. Now we need some more help. From our backers. Look at this. You got your pressure key here. What is this read key doing? This is a good fight versus the hook. This is a nice cross face and pursuit. So I'm watching you first here, Cole. Read key goes away. You can slip underneath and then get your contain. I'm watching you, Christian, fighting the hook. Right there. Fight it. Good. And then watching the two guys in the middle. Heel depth. They see the play. Cross face. Angle of pursuit. This is a poor start. Nice finish. Low energy. Lost leverage. But then just get back, pick it back up, get into contain. Stay in a 3-tack, not a 2-tack. So what happens here is you kind of get your outside arm trapped. You got to keep the outside arm free. So you should have your right arm free, Pardo. That may have helped you see that. Both our guys, Pardo and Christian, both of you get hooked here. And Maxie does a nice split over here, so I'm watching the two guys over here. Hook and hook. We're in trouble. And then I'm watching Max's split right in here. Boom. Nice. Watch the read key. This is your pressure key. Hands going here. Watch what he's doing. Watch that hip. And both guys get hooked. I'm watching over here. Yep, you can slip that if you see that read key go down. Over here, both you guys get hooked. You know, we're having problems getting our rocket off, but it's easy if the defense gets hooked. I mean, we get hooked here, we get hooked here, we get hooked here. Then you can pick up yards, right? This is a nice fight versus a hook. Outside arm free. Boom. Nice cross face in pursuit. But we do get hooked over here. I'm watching the hook. Right there. Cross face in pursuit in the middle. I'm watching that here. Notice this later. So we got we got Ethan and we got Christian not in athletic stances, not ready to go. And you see it pop up later. This is what we talked about before when we were running that rocket. If they're cheating and we can't get to the edge, or we can't log them, we're going to kick them, and then the backs, we'll see that. This looks pretty cool though, because who is this right here? But they do a nice job pinning down. That's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like, you know, like Derek, you can't get to that. You can't log this guy, so just kick him out, and we should be able to read that and turn it up. That's what our rocket's going to start looking like, boys, if we figure this out, which I think we will. Same, by the way. Yeah, this was a rocket left buck right, but we treated it as a rocket. So Derek, you got to hook this guy, right? Or you got to log him. Look at, are you going to make that? Because he's already cheating that far out. So keep running flat. Now kick. If you can't get to that outside shoulder, take the inside one out. Now, boys, coming behind, if you see Derek's butt because he's kicking, then you turn it up. And then first opportunity. No, is this Derek? This is JJ blocking. Yeah, so JJ, if you realize like you're fighting and you can't get to the outside to log, then take the inside and kick. And then Derek and the boys here, if you see him kick, cut it up, and then first opportunity, get back out to grass. Okay? Boom, we could kick it right in here. Like this. Is this a down call? You can tell Schumacher is spying Max here. That looks nice. Stay locked on, Henry. If you're lunging, then you just bounce off of him and he can recover. You can't. So boom, he recovers. You can't. So just swallow him up, right? Get in your fit and finish. Aljo, nice log here. That's beautiful, Aljo. Really good stuff. This is a slide. So Max should have the edge. I think this is a dart. And then Henry, stay square. The squarer you are, Henry, the wider you are on a slide, you turn. Don't do that. Stay square. Stay on. Boom. I think this is what a rocket might start looking like if teams are really overplaying it like these guys are. We might have to get to that inside hip and then stay on that inside hip, inside shoulder. Then we can cut up and then get to grass. So what this offense is going to do on the rocket, who is that out there? Max, nice job. What this offense is going to do is going to play off the block of the H and play off the block of the Z. Derek, we talk about this? No, this is Christian. Yeah, so on this one, we're running a rock. I think we're running a rocket buck. Rocket this way, buck back this way. So get inside of here because that's the guy that we're trying to kick. You stay on him, and then everything runs into you. That's not what we wanted. Now, Christian, if you would have went inside, gap down backer. Is there anybody in your gap? Is there anyone down? Get inside to the backer. You would have picked up the guy that made the tackle. He's right behind the goalpost here. Watch this. That's where you should be going. Get down. Nope, you stay, but you got to get down there. That was the guy. Guards, your pitch forward. Where's your head? Where are your hips? Basically, those are tools for the defense if you give them heads and hips. They're just pushing and pulling. Judo, right? They're just lateral drop. They're just using your weight and pressure against you. Danny, make sure you come and see me for extra point. When you realize that there's a double team, you fight into the double team. Remember, throw the hip into the double team. And where the double team is coming from, that's the knee that sinks. The opposite knee posts. Okay. And then Cole. We're supposed to be squeezing that dude. You're more concerned about getting upfield than squeezing. So you have good vertical depth, heel depth, but you don't have good horizontal depth. You should be down into here. And that's why there's a window for them to run into. Love this over here. Just making an athletic play on the ball. Love everything about this one up here. Cole, look at your attack, your escape, attacking those arms. Boom. And then fighting back. You realize you got deeper than the quarterback, so you're fighting back under. That's what you're supposed to do. We got contain over here. Got pressure up the middle. What do we have over here? It's just good athletic stuff there. Staying square, Odin. Right? Heel depth when you go, or no when you know go. Fighting the outside hand free. Keeping it contained. What do you do with the double team? Boom. Why did I do that? Nice recovery, Odin. Make it easier and don't get moved on the double team. All right, you got a pressure key here. You got a read key here. Look at your read key. He's gone. Look how much space there is right there. They want you to make space. They want you to make horizontal space. They want you to come upfield. CPR, outside arm free. Got inside, and then it's trouble. Right idea here, stay square and cross face to the escaping quarterback, Pardo. Stay square. Here he comes. Get there, cross his face, cross his face. You are almost there. Good fight versus a hook. This is what we're working on this week. Outside arm free, fight, 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 fight. There you go. Almost picked that one because of your effort there, Christian. What we talked about before, if this guy's cheating here, watch him cheat. Oh, here comes the motion. Watch him jump it. You're running flat and fast. Can you get to that outside? If you can, great. That'd be awesome. If you can't, run that inside hip. Everyone else will cut up off of you, and then we'll get out to grass. Because he winds up making the tackle, right? So we're just going to be a little bit more smart about when teams are overplaying that motion. Okay, Cole, you're here. That's your pressure key. That's your read key. Watch that, Cole. And then over here, I'm watching Christian. Christian, fatigue, effort. Over here, Cole, watch your read key. His heels are here. You get 4 yards past the depth of his heels. You get upfield and you don't squeeze. That creates this. Boom, 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 boom. Big window to run in. Watching this. Fatigue, effort, fatigue. Just got to get you out the field. Remember we talked about athletic stances before, getting ready. Make sure you're ready. We're not ready. Good. This is your pressure key. That's your read key. And then we get hooked on this side. So I'm watching pressure key, read key over here. There it is. I'm watching hook over here. There it is. Love this. A great play in the ankle. Not getting hooked. Looking here in the middle. Cross face, cross face, cross face, cross face, cross face. Boom. Look at that, boys. The guys making the tackle are our 3 tech and our end. Running things down. Odin, you bounce here instead of getting into a fit and a finish. You bounce, he bounces off of you, he makes the play. So watch. That guy, Odin, you watch him bounce here, boom, and then he recovers. There, he's on the play. Shovel. The backside guard didn't pull here. I don't know. He should have been kicking out on a shovel. So no, this is the guy we're kicking out, so we're going down inside. And watch this. We go inside. No one kicks him out. So think that was Ethan's guy. Nobody kicked him out. And then Odin's guy bounced off the top. So it's 2 guys hanging on right there. Pop step to protect this inside. If you don't protect that inside, you pop step, but you don't close any ground with it. It just looks like it goes up and down. So I'm watching the pop step on Odin. See that? Actually, that step looks like it goes outside. When you go outside with that inside foot, that's when he gets the inside gap. The other thing we're watching right here is eyes up. See this, Jaden? Boom. Looks like you saw it at the end, right? But, like we said before, it's still 7-on-5 in the middle. So we try to get you guys in a better position. Henry, hips and hands, or hips and head. You go forward lean. Take your head out of there. Get your hips underneath you. This is what happens if you don't. Five or 7. Dirt. That's who we're kicking. Read key, pressure key, read key. Watch your read key. You can get involved in the mix if you see that guy running away. You can slip this and then run it down. Too deep. Heel depth. Also this, take a look at your read key. What's your read key doing? He's going away. So you lost vertical and horizontal integrity. This is a good use of the read key, right? Pressure key here, read key here. So I'm just going to watch you call here. There it is right there. That's how you play a read key. Watch what happens. Quarterback wants, right tackle wants to sucker you to the outside. The right guard, you read his read key. Boom. There it is. That's good stuff. Breck, turf pride. Hold your ground. There's a little box that you paint in here by the feet of the offensive lineman you're around. You don't move from that. And then we have a nice fight versus hook. Breck, I'm watching you. Giving up too much, giving up a lot of ground. And then Henry's fighting versus a hook. Henry, look at you fight to keep the outside hand free. It's good stuff. Read key is right here. And another good fight versus a hook. I'm watching the read key. See that, Henry? That read key goes down. There's nothing out here for you anymore. Go underneath, and then you can recover CPR. And over here, get a hook. Fight, 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 fight. The outside hand free. Good. Don't understand this. You run your escape to the inside. When they're going outside. Somebody has a fumble recovery, not sure who it is. So make sure you see me for a saber. That's it. All right. Biggest fixes: O-line, hips, Australian hips, and get your head out of pass blocking. Derek, understand where you're supposed to be on a buck, and then figuring out rocket, whether we're logging or kicking. Okay, that stuff is going to help us immensely. Okay, and then with defensive line, it's always the same stuff, right? It's always a Sweet 16, and specifically to Cole Klein and the other defensive ends, understand the difference between a pressure key and a read key. And then the other thing is making sure that you're squeezing and then heel depth. Okay? Let's have a good week. Let's learn some stuff. All right, I will smell you later.